Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Utari Bagas Kari. I'm from PBI 1 2018. Today I will explain about my proposal. The title is Using Picture Strategy to Improve Student Speaking Skills in Descriptive Text. A case study at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang. The first is research problem. Based on my research background in my video before this video, there are several problems that can be identified. The problem include the first, how to use the picture to improve speaking ability in descriptive text of the student at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang, grade 8. The second is there any improvement in using picture strategy to student speaking ability in descriptive text of the student at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang, grade 8? The last, to what extent did the student speaking skills improve using pictures in descriptive text of the student at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang, grade 8? Next, research objective. This study aims to obtain empirical data including, first, to describe the learning strategy using pictures to improve the student speaking ability in descriptive text of the student at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang, grade 8. The second is to find out the improvement in using picture strategy to student speaking ability in descriptive text of the student at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang, grade 8. And the last, to find out what extent did the student speaking ability improve using pictures in descriptive text of the student at Junior High School number 11 in Palembang, grade 8. Next, research methodology. First, research design. In this research, I use classroom action research or CAR. According to N. Burns, 2010, page 5. Action research is research that is carried out in the classroom by the teacher that has the purpose of solving the problem or improving the teaching or learning process. Therefore, classroom action research is the research that has main goals to solve the problem faced by the student and which involves a group of students with the purpose of improving teaching learning process so that result of the student improve as well. In this research, I conduct in 2 cycles. If the first cycle is failed, it will be continued to the second cycle. It was conducted until there were an increasing on the students' writing skill. According to Mills, 2000, page 35, a cycle consists of 4 phases. There are planning, acting, observing, and reflecting. The first cycle. Planning is the first step in each activity. It was conducted before I start my action research. This plan is used during the research in every cycle and revised based on the improvement of the student. The activity as follows. First, prepare lesson plan, media of learning, and material. Second, prepare the type of learning. And the last, prepare the instrument of observation. Next, the second step in this research is acting. In this step, I implemented the planning and was conducted in some meetings. The activity as follows. First, pre-teaching activities. The second, while teaching process. And the last, post-teaching process. The third step in this process is observing. In observing, I must be able to analyze the learning process, the student activities, the material, and the result of acting based on observation paper that has been arranged. The important things in teaching learning process are noted by observer. And the last step in this process is reflecting. I analyze and discuss the observation result during teaching and learning process in order to know the weakness and strength of the action in these steps. I use this data from evaluation to make improvement for the second cycle. The second cycle, same as first cycle, planning is the first step in each activity. In second cycle, I focus on repairing the weakness in the first cycle. The activity as follow. I continue the activity that have done in the first cycle. I prepare lesson plan, media of learning, and material. I prepare the instrument of observation. I determine the evaluation instrument of the test, pre-test, and post-test. The second is acting, same as first cycle. This is like in the first cycle, where there are 3 activities in teaching and learning process. The first, pre-teaching activities, and the second, while teaching process, and the last, post-teaching activity. And the third step is observing. The observing at the second cycle is almost the same with the observing in first cycle. The last, reflecting. I correct and analyze the result of the action. In research, compare the score distribution of pre-test and post-test. I review and reflect on the student's attitude, whether it is positive or negative, in the second cycle or need for the next cycle. Next, the second is research setting. This research was conducted in the junior high school number 11 in Palembang, that located at Umar Yunus Street, Sukodadi, Palembang. The third, data collection. In collecting the data, I use the following technique. First, observation. I use the method to get the data about student activities such as student speaking ability and student good participant. The teacher and student activity was observed and noted by the observer. Next, the second is test. I use pre-test and post-test form to see their ability before and after given treatment. The first is pre-test. Pre-test gave in the first meeting before implementing the technique. I ordered to know the level of student speaking skill before doing the action research. Next, post-test. Post-test gave in the last meeting after implementing the technique in order to know whether the technique gives good contribution to the student speaking skills at the 8th grade of the junior high school number 11 in Palembang. The improvement could be known if the score of post-test is higher than pre-test, and the score could achieve the passing grade. Next, documentation. Documentation was needed to get the information from written source or documents such as book, magazine, and daily report. I used this method to get the data about the history of the school, the sum of teacher and student at the junior high school number 11 in Palembang. Next, validity. In this study, the validity of speaking test was to do test retest, which will be done in several times. The speaking test that will given is a role play by telling or describing the image that have been selected or given to student. The speaking ability assessment will follow several assessment items such as vocabulary, pronunciation, fluency, and accuracy. After that, the results will be checked by using SPSS. The result of the validity of the tryout will be used in this study. Next, reliability. The reliability speaking test will be obtained from the result of conducting a test, pretest, retest, and will be checked through reliability statistic by using SPSS to find out whether the speaking test to be used in this research is adequate and reliability or not. And the last is data analysis. In this research, I conducted the data analysis by taking the average score from the result of the pre-test and post-test. Furthermore, to know the improvement, I compared between pre-test and post-test after giving treatment. Then the result was matched by the minimum standard in this school, at least 70. From first cycle, there were some students not successful, so I was conducted second cycle. The minimum cycle in CAR, or Classroom Action Research, is 2 cycles. If in the second cycle all of the students were successful, the cycle were able to be stopped. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry for my mistake. Let's say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.